Well, this ought to be good.
Oh my gosh, hi guys. It's been forever.
We spent like 6 hours together today. I mean, we said goodbye like barely an hour ago.
We did?
Yeah, the ball. Remember the royal ball?
That was an hour ago?
Your lack of object permanence never ceases to amaze me.
Well, you know what they say about time and flying.
Well, what do they say about time and flying?
It does.
Right. Well, I'm sure someone here doesn't intend to waste ours any longer. What's the matter, Detective Princess? If you wanted to talk to us so bad, you could have just shown your face at the ball tonight.
Why did you do that? What does that button do?
Good evening. It's good to see you're all in such high spirits. I'm sorry it has to be under such grave circumstances. Feigning confusion, I see. Allow me to recap. So Queen Odette of Utopiana threw this ball in honor of this continent finally finding peace after a 25-year war. And she invited all the major royals, despite everything. Here's Princess Arsenia, former Queen of Utopiana, the bloodless Baroness, the poisoned apple, a convicted war criminal, and not to mention mother-in-law of Queen Odette. Princess Tulip of Equestria, the notorious and exceedingly pretentious tax evader, and even Princess Amber of the Kingdom of Florida, despite the fact that Odette knew full well that more than 3/4 of the drug cartels I disbanded during the war originated from there. And then there's me, Detective Princess of Baskerville, stopper of crime, snooper of slides, the sleuth with the scoop, yada yada yada. And now you're telling me that even at that joyous occasion, somebody couldn't stop themselves from murdering the Queen?
Yeah, almost entirely correct, I guess. Except for the tax evasion part, obviously. Also, my name isn't Tulip anymore, I go by Zan now.
Zan?
Yeah, I watched Forrest Fump the other day and it completely changed me.
Excuse me, Detective Princess. I would just like to say that I am so shocked, and as one of her very best friends, this hurts me so much. But I think we all know exactly who could have done something like this, and it ain't me, that's for sure.
Well, not to worry, Princess Amber. As is my sworn duty, I shall solve this most heinous crime. And rest assured that I will interrogate every single one of you to get this done. But first, we investigate. First, let's be sure that she's actually dead and not just asleep for 100 years, only to be awoken by true love's kiss again. Dead, to be sure. In fact, I deduct that she was, well, clearly a crime of passion. Strangled, severely beaten and kicked, stabbed at least 7 times by something thin and sharp. A murder weapon that is, as of now, nowhere to be found. Which means the killer must still have it in their possession. Empty your pockets. All of you.
None of us have any pockets.
Yeah, and how do you know all of that is what did her in, huh? How do you know she wasn't poisoned, by someone we know?
Poisoned, of course. Suspicious. The interrogation is now in order. First, you.
Talking to me? How? An intranet net? And they're all on it? Ah, I see. Hello, Prudence.
Hello.
Can you hear me? I can see you. How good to see you finally turn up.
And turn up I did at just the right time. Now, former Queen Arsenia, what do you have to say about this?
Is she dead for real this time?
Indeed she is. And even if we weren't going down the list of suspects alphabetically, which we are, by the way, you'd still be my first suspect. For this was found at the crime scene. Looks familiar. Wanted to return to the classics, perhaps? Listen, Arsenia, I know that things aren't looking too good for you right now. I mean, it is widely known that your skills with poison exceed even the most competent royal physicians. But I won't jump to conclusions just yet, and you're still only a suspect, so there's nothing to worry about. Now, I will be taking your statement. You aware of your rights?
No,
That's great. Name?
Her Royalist Highness Arsenia Roosthorn, dear.
Arsenia, huh?
Yes, dear, that's my name. You've known me for 20 years now.
Arsenia, like the poison?
Oh, no, dear, no. King Arsenic the Poisonous was my father.
Check your phone.
Why do we have this group chat? Amber, honey, you don't have to text me to tell me that Odette is dead. I can see her.
Point of order. You used to be the queen of this land until Princess Odette dethroned you, correct?
Correct.
What was she to you?
A thorn in my side.
Family-wise, I meant.
Oh, she was my daughter-in-law. She married my son.
And did you approve of this marriage?
Not quite.
Why not? Because she was...
A thorn in my side, yes.
Care to elaborate?
I care very little.
Okay. Elaborate regardless.
Well, she did not have enough respect for the olden ways. I'm all for modernizing the ruling process, believe me. But when my dear Henrik brought her to their dinner table, she clearly had very little love for the way I had been running things. Sure, she was very polite about it, but don't think I didn't notice. Of course, I tried to talk to Henrik, but he wouldn't listen to his dear old mother. He even married her without my permission when he became king. And of course, when she got a crown on that little head of hers, obviously everything changed, including our country's name. Utopiana? What are we? A Barbie kingdom? What in the world was wrong with Dystopia Ephileticus, land of the wretched? A thorn in my side, I tell you.
Right. For the record, the olden ways, as you call them,
Yeah?
those were what led you to go to war for 25 years and caused the deaths of hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians, all for the sake of preserving power?
Yes?
And again, just for the record, the olden ways were also what led you to, and I quote, torture, maim, scab, poison, drown, and waterboard. Twice. Upwards of 2,500 people, all of whom just so happened to be your political opponents at the time?
Oh, don't be so dramatic, dear. Times were different after the king died from acute cyanide poisoning. You make it all sound so horrendous.
And you don't think it's horrendous?
They call anyone a war criminal these days.
Whoa, hold the phone. The king died of acute cyanide poisoning? That's very specific. I thought that was a mystery not even Prudence could solve. And frankly, interrogations are so blasé and overdone when it's so obvious who did it.
Really? I mean, it has to be Arsenia. I mean, look at the old hag. I bet she just got bored from not committing crimes.
Sure, but while we're speaking of crimes, weren't you accused of using dwarf laborers to produce the products of your little inconsequential Instagram pyramid scheme again? What was it this time? Gummy vitamins?
It is not a pyramid scheme. It is a multi-level marketing scheme that allows any princess to work from the comfort of her own palace. And for the record, My lethal lipsticks, trademark, will allow any woman to feel more fierce and beautiful inside and out. Kill them with smiles. In fact, speaking of killing, Queen Odette over there could really use some. That pink does not go with the current paleness of her skin. Don't worry, girl. I'll immediately have a whole box load of them sent right to your doorstep. Let me just...
You will not contaminate my crime scene. Not unless you want your company's capitalistic fingerprints all over it. Or could it be that they were already there?
I mean, wasn't that obvious? Her lipsticks are even called lethal lipsticks. Although we can't be sure that Her Royal Highness of Florida even knows what lethal means.
What? I didn't do it.
Oh, please, and I'm supposed to take your word for it when you've never kept a promise before? None of your tried and tested products ever work, do they? Do you remember those magical barber scissors that would allow even the baldest to let down your hair? Please, half the country rocked mullets for weeks. Honestly, Prudence, I wouldn't trust a word that comes out of her mouth.
As if you're one to talk, Zan. We're supposed to trust someone whose name changes with every movie she watches? What, Sophie, Tulip, Amelie, Clementine, Vision, and Wes Anderson weren't doing it for you anymore? I bet you're the one who can't be trusted. Trust me, Detective Princess, I know the ins and outs of everyone, and this one is as wicked as they come.
Oh yeah, well, you...
As much as I appreciate your input, I was in the middle of an interrogation. So, if you please, you.
Judge, Judy, and executioner, are you? This isn't much of a fair justice system.
Don't fret, dear. I never cared much for that anyways.
Systems?
Justice.
Order in court. Just stop me when I'm wrong. As a result of your endless and horrendous war crimes, you were put completely out of commission ruling-wise after your reign, and you were not allowed to be near anyone without supervision since. In addition, your country's economy, as well as your subjects, flourished under the care of Queen Odette, and she was very, very beloved.
Right.
So I could say that you have a motive.
A motive?
You know, a motive. Perhaps you yearned for the throne. Perhaps you were jealous of how she was preferred by your people. Perhaps you didn't approve of your son marrying her. And perhaps that's why you killed her.
Oh no, dear. Kill? At my age? Oh, absolutely not. No, those days are far behind me.
Right. Do you have any proof that it wasn't you?
Oh dear. I would have loved to. But you see, princesses don't kill, only queens do. And I am queen no longer. I truly would have loved to. But it's not my place to kill anymore.
Huh. This is almost too easy. If I were to commit a murder and try to get away with it, of course, I would wait until a certified war criminal was sitting right next to the victim. And placing a poisoned apple on the scene? That's almost too obvious. Someone is trying to put me on the wrong track. This is a downright goose chase now. Florida!
Me?
Indeed. Forgive me, but how did you know that Odette might have been poisoned? That's the level of deductive reasoning I wouldn't have expected from someone like you.
Watch Law and Order.
Special victims here under criminal intent.
Just the normal one?
Very suspicious. I'll be needing your statements as well now, I'm afraid. Name?
Prudence, detective. Girl, what could I possibly tell you about this that you don't already know? It's Amber, by the way.
Amber, why don't you start by telling me about your day?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. Well, I woke up at 10, I did my hair and my skin and my nail routine. I checked up on the neighbors. No update on their marriage situation yet, by the way. I would have updated my marriages.org page, but I think they blacked out their windows. But, you know, as soon as I learn anything new, you'll be the first to hear about it. Anyways, I asked the maid if the kids got to school okay. She says yes. I asked her, have they been doing well? She says fine. I tell her to iron the curtains. She asked for a raise. I tell her she gets paid minimum wage. She says she can't feed her kids on minimum wage. Anyway, I check my in-house barbershop stocks. I update my mommy blog. I keep up with the Kardashians. I get all dolled up. I get to the ball. Queen Odette does her little speech. I catch up with the girls. I go home. I have a glass of wine. You call and you tell us that Odette died. Just so sad. And then you go all, the investigation commences in it. And now we're here. And wait, you're accusing me?
Yes.
I knew it.
Well, she did tell you you were a suspect.
What, you want me to trust the words of a cop?
Yeah. Hey, Amber.
Yeah?
Do you know that bitch, Odette?
Oh, girl, do I ever.
And do you ever feel like killing her?
Oh, girl, do I ever.
Why?
Girl, duh. She's got everything. The looks, the hair, the economically functioning kingdom, the pre-baby body. I mean, I love Johnny and Jackson and Jenny Aitlin, but I will never forgive those rats or Tom for ruining my body. It's enough to make anyone want to take a set of barber scissors and just like stab it 7 times, you know?
Barber scissors!
Ha!
No.
The murder weapon was sharp and thin. Barber scissors do check out.
Busted.
Wait.
Very fitting murder weapon for the finest treasure of Florida.
I knew it. I knew it was you. I mean, it all checks out, doesn't it? You've been jealous of all of us for ages. That's what you get when you rule your dump of a kingdom and your brain is the size of a tres petites pugs.
And you smell too.
It wasn't me.
Oh yeah? Barber scissors don't sound like the kind of thing that you would own.
But I don't.
You don't.
I have never held scissors in my life.
You own a barber shop.
Theoretically.
You have a commercial for it.
Yeah, for copyright purposes so that no one can steal my idea.
That's idiotic.
Called a preemptive business move.
That's the worst excuse I've ever heard. What? Did you also learn that in Law and Order?
Special victims unit Colonel intent.
Does it
Doesn't matter.
In fact, it does. Details like that are your thing, are they not, Xan?
Now hold on, Prudence.
Knowing all the ins and outs of a crime scene, or at least thinking you do with that unwavering confidence of yours.
Unwavering?
Only someone who was that sure of themselves could commit a murder. A murder so performative,
Your crime
it
scene.
could only have been committed by you.
Hold on.
Being able to distinguish between Law and Order SVU and Law and Order CI is exactly something I'd expect at least you to do. You like cinema. You watch things. Unless you've been lying about all that. In which case you could have been lying all along.
How could you? For the record, I saw it coming, but you know, she was our friend.
Go.
This is absurd.
Where was your partner during the ball exam?
Georgiana?
Get her ass.
She stayed home. What does she have to do with this?
Very suspicious that you came to this ball alone. 2 of you are usually joined at the hip.
Are you an idiot? Georgiana would have never come to a ball like that.
And why is that?
Because she's vegan.
She's not vegan, she has a horse.
That's not what vegan means, you fool.
Get out the guillotine.
You shut it. This is ridiculous.
Is it? You're the one that's been jumping to conclusions all night.
What possible motive could I have for killing Odette?
Attention. Odd, wanting to pay homage to Carrie 2013.
I love that movie.
Not a very faithful remake.
No, kill her. I mean, what, pray tell, would we make fun of then? I mean, we can't shit talk each other. Talking about Amber is low-hanging fruit, and discussing Arsenia in any capacity gets the whole room down. And Prudence scares me a little. Me and Georgie could sit and talk about Odette for hours. Her stupid new kingdom name, her stupid country's rich movie industry, her dumb, beautiful horses. I think I'm honestly more torn apart about all that than any of you. I mean, now who do we talk about?
Huh.
And Arsenia, thinking you're off the hook for being old. Harrison Ford is, what, like 40 when he started in Raiders of the Lost Ark?
87.
Ugh, same thing. And do you really think we trust you when you say you don't own barber scissors?
My spiritual advisor says I need to stay away from sharp objects and cooking above an open fire at all costs. So.
Oh, that's rich.
Hold on.
No, I'm being accused here.
You're right. Xan didn't do it.
See,
What do you
Bummer.
mean? What do you mean Zan didn't do it? Who did it then? Was it Arsenia?
Boy, are you wish?
The person who did this knew exactly what they were doing. Sowing discord during the interrogation so that I would lose track of collected data. Gathering just the right, equally suspicious people in the same room together to make the pool of possibilities model. Clever. Very clever.
So it was Arsenia?
No, I don't think any of you are smart enough to do something like this.
hey,
The
Hey.
timing, the thought,
Hey.
the effort that must have been put behind this. Whoever did this planted just enough evidence to send me in a goose chase, but not quite enough to make it obvious that I was chasing my own tail.
so
It was me.
you.
The royal party pooper doing something fun like that?
Yes, it all checks out. The sheer absurdism of this crime made it near unsolvable. That means that whoever did this must have been someone who knows all about crime and punishment.
I love that book.
Wait, you can read?
None of your defenses work. Every single one of you is so suspicious and not to mention petty and motivated enough to actually do something as insane as this. I would have known that. I would have realized who was attending this party and realized that this was the perfect time to strike. I would have been perfectly able to make a crime scene this suspicious and incriminating to all of you. I even have a motive.
What pre-sale would that be?
Isn't that obvious? The war. Odette ended the war. I was thriving during the war. I was disbanding drug cartels and crime networks and film bonds left and right. And then it ended. And I had nothing left to do. I wanted to stir the pot.
Prudence?
Wait, okay. So in this scenario, you killed her, and then you immediately call us to accuse us of killing her in an attempt to solve her murder. Why would you?
Easy. I want to commit the perfect crime. But as it turns out, I'm just too good.
Prudence, sweetie, I really don't think you did it.
No, I did. Ha!
What?
Huh?
You legend!
Yeah, I done it.
Out of all
You
the
weren't
people
expecting
here.
that, huh?
Wow.
Really? Very annoying that none of you did it. Look at all your wonderful motives, making me do all the work again. Could have saved me so much trouble.
Why?
My job as the detective princess is to solve murders. And even though all of you live in a totalitarian monarchy in which none of your citizens have any say in what happens to them, there's been a distinct lack of regicide lately. So I decided to take matters into my own hands, with a fun crime that only I could solve.
Okay, and so now what?
Banishment to the Badlands, hopefully. Definitely. I am Judge Judy and executioner after all. I finally get to do my job again.
Hold on a minute. Prudence?
This is insane.
Are you joking? This is the most exciting this country has been in like a year. I can't wait to do this full time again. Well, peace out.
See, this is why I don't trust cops.
But this is why you stick around for the after party.